It's about that time of day again. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter, boys and girls. Joseph James here. It's Thursday evening, November 10th, 2016. Crude is bearish and trying to finish off rotation back to the low of a channel. Even the S&P is range-bound and trading at the high of a triangle. Gold is bearish and trading at the low of a spiking channel. The euro is bearish and trading in the middle of a range. And the old DAX is bullish after a double overshoot of the channel and is now correcting higher. We have a holiday-shortened session on the horizon tomorrow, but that's not going to stop us from finding some reliable trading opportunities in tonight's newsletter. I got a great video and a great plan for tomorrow. Plenty of reliable trading opportunities setting up for tomorrow. It's going to be an early in, early out session, but we got a great plan for you guys. Before we jump into our charts, though, and put the plan together for tomorrow's Veterans Day session, I do want to remind you guys, only place to watch the full-length version of this video is here on our blog at sidewaysmarkets.com. If you're watching the video right now on a YouTube channel, it is only a small portion of the entire newsletter on our YouTube channel. Check the link in the description of the YouTube video. Follow that link and come join me on the blog at Sideways Markets for the full-length version. While you're here, don't forget, join the mailing list. I'll send you an email every evening when our nightly newsletter goes live. Download those charts. Have those charts ready on your computer for tomorrow's trading session. Grab your free pass in the upper right-hand corner. If you're not a member here at School of Trade, get a free pass for to come out and join me in the trade room as a guest for a few days. And of course, don't forget, if you're brand new here to the SOT community, we've got a great frequently asked questions page on our website to answer all the common questions we get every day. As always, it's great to be back here with you guys again tonight. We have a big holiday weekend coming up. Tomorrow is Friday, November the 11th. We have no major news on the schedule for tonight coming out of the overnight session. Tomorrow is Friday, November the 11th. That means tomorrow is Veterans Day. A big, big happy holiday. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. We hope you guys have a great day off tomorrow. Banks are closed. Markets are open. As we always say, when the banks are closed, the schools are closed, right? Kids will be out of school. A lot of places will be closed up tomorrow. The markets will be open. Tomorrow is one of those kind of half holidays, right? It's an official federal holiday in the U.S., but you will see the electronic session will be working tomorrow. The key tomorrow is going to be get to it early, right? You should see a pretty decent London session. So if you're trading the euro or the DAX, you definitely should be seeing a good London session tomorrow. There may be a little bit of a draw in the volume just because it's been a really busy, did I say busy week coming out of course, daylight savings time, the election Tuesday, Wednesday. So we may see tomorrow might be a little bit lower volume than it really should be, just because traders are kind of recovering, right, from the all-nighters we were putting in here on Tuesday and Wednesday. So be aware of that tomorrow, right? Don't force it tomorrow if it is low volume. If you're going to be trading the London session, you should be okay tomorrow morning. If you're in the U.S. session, though, keep a close eye on things after the news comes out at 10 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow, that consumer sentiment number at 10 a.m. The rule of thumb on a Friday, no matter what Friday it is, the rule of thumb on a Friday is anything after 11 o'clock you've really got to be suspicious about because of that volume, right? And remember, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, right, whenever we can see kind of the end of the fill in the blank here, end of the week, we know that traders will be taking bigger risks, and we expect that to be happening. Combine that with lower volume, and you've got some illiquidity issues there tomorrow. So get to it early. Get out of there early. And of course, as I always remind you guys on Fridays, right, early in, early out, tomorrow, watch that price action, watch the volume, how quickly the candles are forming. If you're on tick charts or volume charts, watch the speed at which this price is moving, right, for tomorrow morning after 10 a.m. for a clue as far as how the volume looks at that time. All right, get the plan for tomorrow. All right, guys. Hope you guys had a great week out there. Ready to wrap this up with you guys here tonight. Again, no newsletter on Friday nights. We got crude, S&P, gold, euro, and we'll wrap it up with the newest edition. We got the DAX for you tonight. Crude is bearish and trying to finish off the rotation back to the low of the channel and possibly the measured move and prior week low before rotating back up to the highs again tomorrow. Sellers have control and will be looking for selling opportunities at resistance levels on the way down to the lows of the channel. Then we'll wait and see how they react to the lows. Once we get down to the lows of the channel, if the bears break below the low of that channel, right, or if they rotate back to the highs, that will be depending on where we go from there. Sellers want to sell on the way down to the low of this channel and then sell back at the high right after rotation. Buyers will be looking for the rotation going back to the channel highs, but they need to wait for proof first. Couple components here on the chart here tonight. As you can see, we have a bear channel, and we're coming off the high of that bear channel, rotating from high to low, low to high, and now high down to low. The objective right now for those bears is to get down to the low of that channel, the measured move, and then possibly the prior week low. It's always pretty interesting when we come into the end of a week and we see the prior week low staring us right in the face there at 43.57. Keep an eye on that prior week low as a runner target, right, if this thing does turn into a bloodbath here tomorrow. The hardest part, though, is going to be sellers are coming off of the high of this channel. We're looking for selling opportunities at resistance areas such as the moving average, right, trend lines on the way down to the low of that channel. Once we get down to the low of that channel, now we have to take a timeout and wait and see what happens. What usually happens is we make a rotation back to the highs, right? The sellers will stop selling, the buyers will buy, right, once they get the pullback to hold, and of course the sellers will then look for selling opportunities, right, coming back off the high again. Now, we may, in the kind of low volume environment that we're expecting tomorrow, we may see a breakdown and a pullback below it for a move through the low, and of course the objective then shifting from the measured move or the channel low down to that prior low. So as of right now, sellers right now want to be very, very cautious about selling at the low, but are looking for selling opportunities as the price goes back to that low. Keep an eye on that resistance trend line. If we do happen to rise higher, right, we could look for some additional selling opportunities at resistance. So looking at this right now, moving average, right, for pullback setups, right, failure setups back up at the top of that channel, back up at the top, or should I say at the triangle at 44, right, at 44.73, right? So we're definitely looking for selling opportunities as we go lower. Just be careful selling when you get down to that low, unless, of course, we can crack through it and then hold the pullback, get that moving average down, right? Hold the pullback as we go below the low of that channel. Just make sure you're not selling into the low and make sure you're not selling into that, right, into that measured move. Now, couple things here for the buyers, right? Couple things here for the buyers. Let's say, for example, we do finish off that move down to the low. What can we now be looking for here as a buyer, right? So we finish off the move. We struggle to go through it, break out, pull back, and go, right? Think about that type of situation now, rotating off the low of that channel. Don't forget, we've got that trend line waiting down here, right? So don't buy into that trend line. You want to be thinking buying on the way up to that trend line and then, right, breakout pullback from there, right? That'll give you the next opportunity here above the high of that channel tomorrow. Again, what if we go higher here? If we go higher, don't forget, buyer failure up at the highs to sell it back down, right? Really anything here that goes higher. You've got that 44.73, right, the 44.98. This whole area up here will be seen as a wonderful spot here for sellers to have a chance to sell high rather than selling low. If you're a buyer, you really got to be careful up and around this area. Really, if you're a buyer right now, you want to be thinking buying off the low of the channel, right? Again, after you see the turn, don't just buy the low, wait for the turn going higher. Or if we do happen to run small window here, small window here. These would be the two spots, right? You could be looking here for the buyers here tomorrow, right? Small window there above that triangle at 44.73, and another big window above that battle zone for a move back up to retest the high. Tomorrow's a holiday here in the U.S., so don't forget to keep an eye out for trading ranges. In all reality, this may end up becoming a trading range, right? And we may see this price jump up, back down, and struggle to keep going below that low, right? And then look for this to become a range tomorrow. We'll be keeping an eye on that tomorrow morning as the day develops. Whenever we have a big volatile week we've had this week, oftentimes the end of the week here will result in a low, or again, tomorrow being a holiday, we expect some lower volume, and we'll be keeping an eye out, right, for a trading range. As of right now, though, we don't know enough about this. We assume the sellers will finish off the move to the downside, and then possibly that's where, right, that trading range will come. We'll be watching for that range if it develops here and focus on selling off the high of that range because it will be a bear trading range at that time. Got the plan there for the crude. Let's keep going. S&P is range bound and trading at the high of triangle this evening, which means sellers will be looking for buyer failures to sell the highs with a target going back to the lows of the triangle. Now remember, triangles are traded just like any other trading range. Buy the low, sell the high, avoid the middle, and focus on failures. The key is to wait for price to move outside of the range and then sell it at the highs, buy it at the lows, and get it to snap back towards the middle of that range, avoiding the trades that occur in the middle of the range. The buyers may try to make a run to new all-time highs tomorrow, and we need to see a strong break higher if we're going to gain confidence to follow that move higher as well. As I said last night, we have those all-time highs kind of begging us right now to be retested. Tomorrow's expected to be a lower volume environment because of the holiday here, the Veterans Day holiday. Again, it should be an early in, early out. Whenever we have low volume, we may see that kind of runaway type of environment, whether it be higher or lower, those all-time highs, and we'll see if this Trump rally continues here this week. All-time highs, measured move. There's a couple different measured moves here I'm looking at on this chart. All-time highs and measured move overhead, right? Measured move, of course, going lower as well. Most important thing right now, though, is this triangle. You know, again, triangles are treated just like trading ranges. So as this price goes up, buyer failure, and back down. You can see a good example of that right there. As it goes down, seller failure, right, and back up. What you want to be keeping an eye on is look at the swings, right? See all those swing levels here? Find the pivots outside of those, right, outside of that triangle, and those are the areas that you really want to focus on. Get up, back down, right? Get down, back up, right? So focus on those areas here, 81.5, 75.5, 54 1/4, right? 47 3/4. And again, stay the heck away from the middle of this range. That's why I said the key to these is to get it to go way up out of the range, buyers struggle, and sell it back down. So kind of think of something like this, right? If the price tries to jump here, this is where the moving average will follow suit. Buyers try, fail, right? Sellers will, of course, sell this thing back down. Same thing here to the downside, right? If we do make a run outside of the range, right? We go outside the range, sellers try, they fail, and back up, right? Back up into that range. The only thing that will cause me to think differently tomorrow is if we see a great strong move that can hold a pullback. So, for example, let's just say the buyers take it. The buyers have a little bit of a short-term edge right now, right? But they've got to hold here, though, because if they can't hold the high of this, it's going to collapse back in. Everybody knows what's happening at that point. So let's just say, for example, right, the buyers get a strong break. They can hold that first pullback, right? Then if they can hold that pullback, then you know, okay, now I can get looking for those buys on the second, third, fourth, right, on the way back to those highs. The key is a strong move needs to hold that pullback if you're going to be confident of this price, right, continuing that move. And again, it may happen on low volume tomorrow, maybe really quick, because with volume being low because of the Veterans Day holiday, it may be low volume, and that really means this price can move quickly here as it skips from price level to price level without much liquidity. Buy low, sell high. Focus on those failures, right? That means as it goes up, buyers try twice, failure to come back down. As it goes down, again, focus on these prior swings. Those are going to be, right, that's where all of the magic happens here when it comes to ranges, right? Sellers try once, sellers try twice, right, and buying it back up. The wider it expands, the more profit potential we have going back up into the middle of that range. And again, be careful, right? Be careful, avoid the middle like the plague. Let's keep going here. How about some gold? Gold is bearish and trading at the measured move and the low of a spike in channel this evening, which means the sellers will be waiting for rotation back to the highs of the channel for the most reliable selling opportunities, going back to retest the measured move and possibly the prior month low at